Steelers fans, welcome back to your favorite Steelers segment, Yinz Jagoff. I'm your host here, Yinz Dono. Been on a bit of a hiatus lately, but you know what? I think with the new season, we're gonna go ahead and try to get things rolling here a little bit more. So, hey, listen, I know if you're here, you're obviously it's not a really good victory Monday. In fact, it's not a victory Monday at all. Unfortunately, the Steelers did fall to the Jets 24-20, which I'm sure if you're a Steelers fan, you've already noticed that by now. There's a lot of things to break down in this game that we really need to go over, need to decipher. However, really only going to touch on a few key points here, right? Obviously, we didn't get the results that we wanted as fans. However, we did get what we wanted in the terms of having Kenny Pickett come into play. Now, looking at the first half, Mitch Trubisky really didn't do all that terribly. I don't think he was as bad as people might say or might believe that he was, but he just wasn't moving the ball. You could just tell that the team they didn't rally behind him. He didn't look confident. You know, he's a one read quarterback. He finds the one read and that's the one he's going to go with, right? And I really think that's the biggest issue when it comes to this offense and getting down the field and scoring points. Obviously, it was 10-3 at half had they not had given the Steelers a gift of a roughing the passer call that put it in Boswell's range with Boswell. Honestly, man, dude's automatic. Got it. Shout out for Boz, man. Boz is just having another one of those years where he really is just automatic. He did kind of have the kick out of bounds, which wasn't the greatest, but um, you know that there's a really good possibility that the likelihood that when Nine's strolling out there and he's going for a kick, he's going to make that kick. But yeah, the offense rather just seemed really stagnant with Mitch Trubisky back there. And I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, I was really before the game. You can ask my wife. I was emotionally checked out. I wasn't even really thinking about the game. It was just kind of like, oh, yep, there it is. You know, we're Steelers, same old things, different day. What are we gonna do? It's just gonna be another loss to the Jets. But once around halftime, I open up my Twitter profile. Follow me at Yinz_Dono. Open up my Twitter profile, and I'm starting to see notifications. I'm starting to see rumblings. Kenny Pickett's warming up. Kenny Pickett's warming up. And immediately, my mood for the game flipped 180. I was, as a fan, I felt like I was reinvigorated. I was invested again into the outcome of this game. I was invested back within this team because I think there's probably a lot of us fans out there who are really just sitting there thinking this offense is so stagnant. The defense can't make stops at big times, which will come back to here in a little bit. I just, for me, I don't want to say that I as a fan I'm punting the season away, no pun intended. But I kind of expected to lose just with how vanilla the offense has been and their inability to score points. So moving forward, once Kenny Pickett's in there, man, I am re-excited. I am stoked. I'm jacked. My wife's telling me to calm down. You're gonna give yourself a heart attack. Um, but I was excited, man, and the fans were excited. Everyone was stoked to see KP8 get up on in there. And honestly, really, in my honest opinion, he did not disappoint. He proved that he is the guy. He is, for at least the very intermediate future, Kenny Pickett is QB1, and he proved that. Now, people are going to sit there and they're going to talk about, oh, well, he threw 3 interceptions. Well, let's talk about this, right? I think the biggest issues with the interceptions, let's talk about 1 and 2, were I think not as much on Kenny, but more so schematically, right? Schematically being situational, but also who we're throwing the ball to. You could tell even on the defensive side of the ball, that team was jacked and ready to go. They wanted to play. You know, you could audibly hear Kenny on the line calling out the Mike linebackers, trying to make changes at the line of scrimmage, something that Mitch Trubisky just didn't do. And you could just see the spark in the stadium. Watching it live on TV, you could just hear it and feel it when Kenny Pickett got into the game. Now, I think did a really great job as far as giving him some reps, handing the ball off to Najee. Let the Naj just rumble and bumble down their throats, picking up a great yards per carry average. I think he ended with 4.1 yards per carry on the day, which is by far his best thus far, at least this season. I'd have to look back at last season, but definitely his best this season. And I thought he had a great game, hitting the holes, making the blocks, and doing the right things. But I think when you look at that first pass that they drew up for Kenny Pickett to throw, it was almost like it was set up to fail. Because number one, you have a 6'4", 240-pound wide receiver in Chase Claypool. But the ongoing theme of him for the last 2 years is that he cannot make a contested catch to save his life, despite the fact that his frame would tell you otherwise. The intangibles would tell you otherwise. But for some reason, he just cannot make those contested catches, and it is unbelievable to see such a talented guy just unable to make these plays. Now, when he threw that ball, what was it, 35, 40 yards downfield? I don't like the call. I feel like you really need to get your rookie into a rhythm. Let him make those intermediate throws. Let him make those short throws out into the flat or a slant across the middle. Let him make these easy reads, these easy throws to get him in a rhythm. He didn't have any first-team reps. He didn't have anything. And then you bring him in at halftime cold after he's sitting on the bench, and the first pass you dial up for your rookie first-round draft pick is a shot down to Chase Claypool. I don't like that call. But let me tell you why I don't like it even further. I don't like throwing it to Chase Claypool because, again, he's shown an inability to make those contested catches. I think they need to find out what Chase is better at and stick him in that situation, like being a slot receiver, being a big body receiver. But I would challenge this. If you switch out Chase Claypool, who's hit him right in the hands. Yeah, maybe you could have led him a little bit further, but that's his first pass in the NFL. It hit Chase Claypool in the hands. He's going up against a 5'8" defensive back, and he doesn't come down with it despite the fact that it hits him right in the hands. I would challenge you to think about this. If that's George Pickens, does he make that catch? I'd say at the very least it's not intercepted. But I would say that if that's George Pickens going down that sideline and going down the middle for that shot play, George Pickens makes that catch every single day. Schematically, you draw it up for Chase Claypool, who, again, I'm going to reiterate this, probably more than once, obviously, but even more so beyond this. Chase Claypool has a tough time making contested catches. George Pickens loves contact. George Pickens, dog, both literally and figuratively speaking, right? The dude knows how to play. He knows how to go up and make those ridiculous grabs, despite the fact of any sort of obstacle that might be in his way. He is a physical guy, a physical runner. He's physical in the run game, and he's physical in the passing game. It doesn't matter. George Pickens makes that play. The second interception, I would say, you're up by 3 points at that point, right? You're up at 3 points. Your running attack has been solid thus far. I think Jaylen Warren had like 6 yards per carry. Najee had 4.1 yards per carry. Now, the team's average obviously went down because of Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky running the ball. But when we talk about when you just break it down between Najee and Jaylen, the yards per carry average was between 4 and 6. I think we had a bad toss play, right, on the first down, which is what sent it back to 2nd and 15. Now, if you're going to pull something, listen, just feed it up the middle. Stop trying to get cute. Matt Canada, he has this like burning fire within him that he says, I have to make this Hello Kitty cute because that's just who I am. He doesn't embody Steelers football. Steelers football would have suggested you use either your rookie fullback / tight end and Connor Hayward, who is a beast, by the way, who can both block and catch, or you use Derek Watt and you set him up in an offset I formation. And you hand the ball up the middle to Najee Harris, your 6'1", 245-pound beast of a running back. I'll tell you what, Tennessee, what are they doing in that situation? Tennessee's handing the rock off to Derrick Henry. They're not going to sit there and try to get cute. At worst, he gets back to the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd and 15, and the clock is still running. And then maybe on 3rd down, you run some sort of play-action bootleg where Kenny Pickett is very good at and get a receiver out in the flats where it's an easy completion. But they didn't do that. He wanted to get cute. And the offensive line collapsed because there's pressure reaching the quarterback. Now, should Kenny have made that throw? Probably not. Should Freiermuth have made that catch? Debatable. But why were we even in that situation? Why not just run the ball? You had the success. If you run it up the gut, as you had been all game, averaging 4 to 6 yards per carry, depending on which running back is in there, why not run the clock out? Worst case scenario, it's 3rd and long, or 4th and long, or 4th and a few yards, and you punt it and pin them deep. Make them travel the length of the field. Don't give them a short yardage situation. Now, again, obviously, we can debate that all day. Should Kenny have thrown it? Probably not. Should he have thrown it away? Yes. Should we have actually just handed it off up the middle and played Steelers football? You got to put your players in a position to succeed. And I honestly just feel like when we're taking strides forward, we just, for some reason, the Steelers just continuously take strides back. Now, a lot of people want to sit there and blame it, that last touchdown on Kenny Pickett's interception. And I would say there is some validity to that argument, but they still had to drive 65 yards down the field. That defense already gave up an 81-yard drive prior to that for a touchdown. I'm not going to lie to you. When they scored that touchdown and we were up 20-17, I sat there and said to myself, that's not good, because now you're putting all the pressure on your rookie quarterback who just came in cold with 0 reps during the week to make more plays. His ball placement was perfect. Aside from, obviously, the Freiermuth one, I'm not going to count the Hail Mary, but the Freiermuth and the Claypool, but Claypool should have had that. He was making plays, making throws. But that defense, the excuse we've given up and given them, and kind of given them a pass, I would say in week 2 and in week 3 against the Browns, is that they've been gassed. That the offense hadn't been sustaining drives or staying on the field. Well, the offense was sustaining drives. The offense was staying on the field. And the defense gives up 3rd and long, 4th and long. Something they hadn't been doing all game, but for some reason, in the 4th quarter, when it matters the most, the defense simply collapsed. And I'm sick and tired of seeing the statistic where it's, they're 0-7 without TJ Watt. Yeah, we get it. I understand. But one man shouldn't make your entire defense. 2 men, 3 men. There's 11 dudes on that field who are NFL caliber players. And they cannot rally around the ball to make the stops when they have to. They get them in 3rd and 4th and long, and they give it up, the conversion. You can sit there and talk about Kenny Pickett and throwing that interception when he was tossing it to Freiermuth all you want. You can sit there and talk about that. But why is an emphasis not being placed on how the defense is consistently, they're not gassed. They had 10 days of rest. The offense was sustaining drives. The defense couldn't get off the field. That's not the offense's fault. If the defense can't get off the field on 3rd and 4th and long, then what the hell are we doing? By the way, why is Spillane coming in on 3rd downs? Please explain that to me. He's your dime linebacker. Okay, he's not known for coverage. He's not known to be that kind of a linebacker. Devin Bush is. Now, obviously, Devin Bush has had his struggles, and he's not without criticism, but he has far outperformed what people thought he would. Devin Bush has played a lot better than he did last year, and he's continuously improving. He's not perfect, clearly, but you spent a number 10 overall pick on Devin Bush because he is known for his side to side, his lateral speed, his ability to be in coverage, and you're putting Robert Spillane in a third down and long situations. I don't understand what is going on. Now let's just wrap it up here, okay? Listen, man, I'm excited about Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett is obviously the intermediate future. I think they need to really reevaluate what they're doing offensively, um, and have better situational football. And a lot of that, some of that's on the players, but I think a lot of that's also on the coaches as well. You gotta set your players up for success. George Pickens is the kind of guy that's going to go make contested catches. He's proven that. He is more than proven that. Gunner, I'm going to rewind. Am I the only one who loses his damn mind when they bring in Gunnar Olszewski to run a jet sweep or to run block? He was brought here specifically to be a return specialist. The only thing he's specialized in thus far is fumbling the ball on punts and putting our defense in shit situations. It's another one of my gripes. You've got Deontay, speedy, shifty. You've got Chase Claypool, who is also a big guy who's speedy, but he can also run through dudes. Gunnar Olszewski, you bring him in as a return specialist and you're putting him out there on jet sweeps and run blocking when you have George Pickens, who is clearly not afraid of contact. He's not afraid to mow somebody over. So I think moving forward, Kenny Pickett is the guy. Kenny Pickett clearly shows and displays an ability to come out there and just take the game over. He's not afraid. Standing in the pocket, taking a hit to the chin from Quinnen Williams, delivering a dime down the middle, down the seam to Pat Freiermuth. And he gets up and he laughs in his face. That's the kind of swagger that this team needs. And you can just tell that they play completely differently when you have KP8 back there versus Mitch Trubisky. I wanted to give Mitch Trubisky a shot. I wasn't a fan of the signing. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was hilarious that people in the media, especially like Tone Diggs, who makes fun of Mason Rudolph, was pumped about Mitch Trubisky, and this is what we've gotten when there really is no difference between the two. The only difference is Mason Rudolph probably has a better understanding for the offense. And he knows how to throw to George Pickens. Mitch Trubisky does not. What I'm saying is this, is that we need to, moving forward, the offense needs to draw things up better. They need to draw up better offensive game plans using the talent they have and what they're good at. Chase Claypool is not good at making contested catches despite his frame. George Pickens is good at making contested catches. George Pickens is good in the run block. Connor Hayward is good. He is a tight end that can make catches out of the backfield. He can make catches, contested catches. He's also a great blocker. He can block in the run. He can be a good pass blocker. You have so much talent on this team, but it's just not being utilized properly. And I think moving forward, and anyone who watched the game last night between the Buccaneers and the Chiefs probably heard, they heard rumblings of it, that Juju Smith-Schuster came out and said that he's learned more about offense and how to play offense in the last few months than he did ever in 5 years at Pittsburgh. And some people were pissed off, but I'd say a lot of people were like, yeah, well, he's not wrong, because clearly there's no ability to draw up a good offensive game plan, at least not for the last 4 or 5 years. Because honestly, since end of 2018, 2019, I've had zero confidence in this offense to be able to produce points, right? So I think moving forward, Kenny Pickett's the guy. You got to feed the Nodge. Stop getting cute, Matt. Good Lord. Good Lord. Get back to Steelers football. The defense needs to shore up and be better on situational downs and situational play. And for God's sake, can you not? I understand rotating Spillane in there if Devin or Miles gets tired, but Jesus, can you please put the coverage linebacker in your dime set versus the guy who they almost casted for white men can't jump? You're going to play Woody Harrelson over Devin Bush. That's what you're doing, in effect. Okay? I don't care what Woody Harrelson did in semi-pro and how he got him to fourth place. I don't care about that. What I care about is winning games. Fans are invested in this. Probably not, obviously not as much as the players and the coaches, but this brings joy to people's lives, and this is what we love to do. I love football. We love this. And as Steelers fans, listen, there is a standard. There is a standard that needs to be upheld, and it just hasn't been it. Hopefully KP8 is the spark that we need. Hopefully the defense can get it back together and come back. Hopefully when TJ Watt returns, we can figure something out. But I'm excited. We're on to Buffalo. We'll go ahead and work on a preview coming up. Y'all take it easy. This is Yinz Dono with the Yinz Jagoff podcast.